This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're very pleased to be joined by Devin Smith, Vice President of Commercial Programs with McCullough Engineering, to discuss MES's role in the restoration of the trailing suction hopper dredge Stuyvesant, a Dutra Group dredge that suffered significant fire damage in late 2024. So, Devin, to start us off, can you just give me an overview of McCullough Engineering today? By the numbers, look at the organization, something to give our audience a little insights on the size and scale of your operation.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, Greg, thanks for having me on. I want to give you a brief update. So, McCullough Engineering Services, or as we know it as MES, was founded in '99 by the owner and president, Shane McCullough. Today, we serve commercial and government clients with the full ship to concept lifecycle support, offering everything from vessel automation systems, integration, power and control systems, power management, and ongoing vessel service and support through those systems lifecycle. By the numbers overlook, we've been in business for about 25 years. We're 28 plus employees, and we work with clients from ranging from the U.S. Navy to your mom and pop local shipyards.
As I said at the outset, we're here to discuss the refurbishment of the Dredge Stuyvesant. To remind our audience, can you give a bit of a background, a technical spec on the dredge with the insights and the type and the degree of damage that was caused by that fire in November of 2024?
Yes, sir. The trailing suction hopper dredge, that's a mouthful, Stuyvesant, is an ABS Coast Guard class hopper dredge that's operated by the Dutra Group. The vessel experienced an engine room fire, on November 2nd, 2024, caused by a mechanical issue, and the engine room was significantly damaged during that fire. Most of the damage was to the main control room that housed all of its switch gear and MCCs, and then right in front of where the fire primarily happened was a kind of a centrally located place that had a bunch of cables. So it's like every cable that went through the engine room kind of went through this one central place, and it all got kind of melted together. The damage included the main switchboard, all the motor controllers inside the main control room, the control alarm and monitoring system, and then various other systems were affected in not necessarily in a direct way, but say you had your oily water bilge system that's down lower aft engine room, those cables ran up through the automation system, and we had to cut all those cables out. So it was all kind of affected, purifiers, the whole shebang. It was a huge effort to get her back going. So when the fire happened, the fleet manager and the port engineer from the Dutra Group were among the first people on site. Once they saw the extent of the damage, their first call was to Shane McCullough, the owner of the company, and they told him, and I quote from them, "The only way we can fix this is with you guys." They looked at it and was like, "We can't put this back together by ourselves. We need you guys to come give us a hand." So being that we worked so closely with Dutra in the past, we were brought on board via the Dutra Group, and that kind of set the tone for the project. So our scope was it wasn't like what you're used to seeing, where you get a technical scope that says you shall meet this requirement and have this size breaker or this. It was our scope was to get the Stuyvesant back up and running safely and reliably, right? That was a very broad scope, but we figured out a way to get through it and meet ABS Coast Guard's standards as well as the Dutra Group standards. And one of the reasons Dutra came to MES is because we're the true one-stop shop for them.
Can you just kind of put in perspective the scope of this project for your organization and then give insights on the resources that MES brought to bear to complete the project?
So MES has kind of two sides of the business. We have a commercial side and we have our government sector. I am the head of the commercial business side, and it's very common for us to take on projects where a customer will reach out and say, "Hey, we need this piece of equipment brought up to the 21st century." It's built in the '80s, and we go in and we make that challenge a reality for those guys. This is 100% right up our alley, but it was a humongous scope. It's 5, 10, 15 times the normal scope that we would go through in normal cases. And in doing that, we had to bring some additional resources in from our government side. So we brought a few engineers over from the government side that was able to support us. We're being 28 deep. It helps us to flex some employees on both sides of the business. But to make that happen, we pulled a full range of MES resources from our engineering design teams, system integration experts, project managers, field technicians. We also brought in some trusted contractors, as I mentioned earlier, to provide additional engineering support and certain expertise that we needed, particularly on this project. And that gave us the manpower and the technical depth to move forward and execute this project. So we went on board. We done the initial assessment, provided the logs for the Coast Guard to do to understand what happened in the fire, and then we also interfaced with the insurance company the whole way through the whole project.
As you know better than I, every job like this has its unique challenges. So, when you just kind of step back and look at this project, what do you consider to be the biggest challenges to go from point A to point Z? And how did MES help to overcome those challenges?
So when we first started the project, one of our first hurdles that we spotted was equipment lead times. There were certain pieces of equipment that some people were giving us lead times of 6 months, and then we're like, oh, we got to have this thing back working in 6 months. So we had to work through different avenues and different vendors to get that risk mitigated. Once that challenge was overcome, the next challenge that came about was, all right, we got all this equipment, and now we got to install it and hook it all up. So on-site labor became really, really hot topic really, really early on in the project. So what we did was to bridge that gap. It was a fantastic thing. We had the vessel's crew. So the vessel's crew kind of bridged the gap between when we got the equipment. They helped us kind of bring the equipment on board, install it, and then started helping us pull some cables until we could acquire the perfect electrical team to finish that up and pull all the cables. And total rough estimate, it's probably much more than this, but about 17 and a half miles of cable was pulled. Um, and then we also had Dutra, so every bit of it had to be connected as well. And then Dutra Group's shoreside electrician team, they had 4 or 5 Dutra Group electricians that come from their California operations that came and embraced a new role in the sense that they're used to working on big power equipment with cranes and stuff like that. And they got to work with like little PLCs and IOs and little sensors and stuff. So those guys came and learned on the fly and did a great job. And then once MES was fully on site, or we were fully on site from November, Shane and I were kind of on site, and then we had January 1st. I brought some more engineers, so the challenges didn't stop. They were tight deadlines, complex system tie-in. So we had to tie in with, we had to understand what a fuel oil purifier system. Usually we do like an integration drawing on that, but we had to understand it and help commission it and stuff. So it was definitely stayed focused, troubleshooting problems as they came up, guiding the team through various tricky parts, finding solutions, and kept the project moving. And like every other member of the MES team, if there was a gap that needed to be filled, whether it was pulling cable, hanging a light, labeling connections, or pitching in on cleanup, we rolled their sleeves up and got it done. And the chief engineer, I can never forget, he's like, look, we were up in our meeting. The crew did a great job having like a morning safety meeting every morning before we would kick our day off. And they're like, look, if there's anything, we definitely cannot have Devin painting anymore. So they had we had like a deadline that we were meeting a schedule, right, and we needed some lighting brackets painted. And they had resources were tied up, so I got down there and I was painting some brackets, and I'm not the best painter. So and that ended up the chief was like, no way on Devin painting anymore. But he's like, at the end he gave a speech. We had a chief engineer that ended up retiring kind of right at the end of the project, and he gave a speech, similar to, it was great to see this effort go all the way through, and there was no like, oh, this isn't, we can't do this because we're waiting on this person. Everybody kind of did everybody's jobs, and it was really, really good. So it was a tall order, but everyone came together. The Dutra port engineers, the vessel crew, steel support crew from Dutra, BAE Systems did a great job, and our own MES team. We're honored to take the lead. We were honored to take the lead in steering the project from start to finish, and making sure each step was executed to the standard that we work to. And looking back, I'm proud of how quickly everyone responded and how well the team clicked. So the collaboration was really what got the Stuyvesant back to service on schedule.